Hello, welcome to this update. Let's see what's happening with the severe weather and some stuff. We have a slight risk now for parts of Mississippi and Louisiana in terms of severe weather, and a marginal in the northwest there for the atmospheric river. So let's see here. We have a 5% tornado threat parts of Mississippi and Louisiana, and a 2% around it. A wind threat of 5%, also in the northwest there, and hail threat we have 0%. So let's see. Isolated severe thunderstorms may occur today across lower Mississippi Valley, posing a risk of isolated severe wind and potential couple of tornadoes. Occasional severe wind gusts might also develop along the coastal Pacific Northwest. So be aware in those areas, especially in the south there. And this might update later, but this is what we currently have. Shows more general storms tomorrow on the 14th, parts of the southeast and the northwest, a storm or two there, and shows later for the 15th a storm or two in North Carolina, but nothing crazy. So be aware today there. We have here on the HER, like the south shows those storms from the Gulf going into Louisiana there. Central Louisiana into Mississippi might have more of a tornado threat, and those storms, if those storms emerge from the Gulf, they might have a water spout danger too. So be aware, especially central Louisiana to southwestern Mississippi, with those storms later this afternoon shows more Mississippi, like early to late this afternoon shows more storms Louisiana and some areas there. So be aware of the tornado potential, and tomorrow Thursday quiets down a little bit. So yeah, be aware. The northwest we have that their atmospheric river there, more rain and snow throughout the northwest there, shows some storms on the coast and a little bit heavy rain, especially those bands of rain and storms that come in until like Friday, those bands of storms there. So yeah, be aware those areas. And here, like, we even have a tornado warning there in Louisiana already as I speak in that red there. And we have some winter storm watches in the Sierra Nevada, some winter weather advisories, Northern California, Eastern California, some winter storm warnings, northernmost California, northern Washington, some flood watches in Washington, some coastal flood advisories and like flood advisories, and more of those in northeastern Florida too, some parts of Louisiana and Alabama, some small flood advisories. Show some wind advisories in the Appalachians, maybe there'll be wind warnings later. Show some wind warnings southeastern Wyoming, wind advisories throughout Nevada, California, and Oregon, and Washington, some wind warnings too, and red flag warnings in the northeast there. And they even do have like a coastal flood watch near New Jersey and Delaware. So yeah, some wind advisories in parts of Hawaii, and high surf advisories and small craft warnings. Winter storm watch southwestern Alaska, some heavy freezing spray warnings there. So be aware. And here we have some elevated fire conditions in parts of the mid-Atlantic and northeast. They do say here critical fire weather, southern New England in the description here, but here shows mainly like some elevated there. But yeah, be careful with the red flag warnings and everything. So shows there all the way from like Maryland to Massachusetts. So some windy conditions and low relative humidity might make it easy for fires to spread. And there has been the New Jersey fire lately, so be careful there. And tomorrow, no area still. So yeah, be aware. Here shows that area of severe storms in the south and the heavy rain. It shows some discussions for the rain array, and some heavy snow parts of northern Washington and Idaho and northern California. some mixed precipitation there. Day 2, some areas of mixed precipitation in the northwest still, even Pennsylvania. Some freezing rain possible in Maine there, and to New Brunswick, and show more in West Virginia and parts of the Appalachians, Virginia's a little bit of freezing rain possible. Day 3, more mixed precipitation in the northwest, some areas of rain across the east and the west, and shows a lot of freezing rain potential day 3, especially in Maine, but also New Hampshire, Vermont, parts of southeastern Quebec. So be aware. And then let's see, we have the excessive rainfall, some a slight risk in parts of Mississippi, especially in Louisiana, and a marginal, so be careful with more heavy rain from those storms that might cause some flash flood dangers, and a marginal risk around it until Indiana, a marginal risk from California to Washington. Be aware. Day 2, less than 5%. Day 3, day 4, marginal again in parts of Washington and Oregon. Day 5, a marginal in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and from California to Washington again. So be aware. Precipitation today and tomorrow shows more across the west, that atmospheric river, especially California and to Washington, some other areas, and shows close to like 2 inches or something in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, close to 2 inches, and shows more across the eastern U.S. there. Day 1 through 3, still some on the west and parts of the east, and day 1 through 5 shows another system for like Texas and Oklahoma, some more rain there, and day 1 through 7 shows more in Florida, potential from Hurricane Sarah. We are watching that, and shows more close to like even 15 inches in a spot or two from all of the 7 days of accumulation across Washington and some areas. So be aware. In Oregon, more there across central southern US, day 1 through 7. Snowfall probability shows higher in Northern California and the mountains, Northern Washington, Central Washington, Northern Idaho, Northwestern Montana, Central Idaho, and parts of Oregon there. So be aware. The snow shows more heavy snow southern British Columbia too, and show like day 2 less, but still some snow in the mountains. Day 3 mainly Nevada, finger 2 into Montana and California. Day 4 already shows more across the west coast there. Day 5 a lot across the northwest. Day 6 a little bit less, and day 7 something around the north or the southern Rockies in some areas. So be aware. Day 3 through 7 hazards. They do have some heavy rain possible in the mid-south and the plains, some winds, strong winds Montana, and heavy rain parts of the north there. And day 8 through 14, some high winds in the plains and some areas much below normal temperatures, finally in Texas, and shows there like some some high winds, some slight risk of heavy snow in the Rockies there, heavy precipitation Florida, and high winds in many areas there. So yeah, be aware. We do have the winter storm severity index for parts of the west, so especially like Northern California, some mountains there with major impacts, Northern Idaho, some mountains there, and Washington, so be careful along those areas. And here, like, let's see some other stuff for the snow, and especially here, better here, like the winds and everything. So let's take a look. Let's see. So the forecasts, let's see like some temperature stuff. So still some May is in the south, colder in the mountains, the northwest some areas, and the northeast some 4 is, and higher is Fahrenheit, and shows day 1 minimal much colder across the northeast, especially in Maine, so like 15, 19 Fahrenheit, those darker purples close to 14 Fahrenheit, and the wind chills might be colder than that. Shows across New Hampshire, New York, some colder temperatures all the way down to the Appalachians, and shows more like 20s and some teens in the mountains across the west there. So be aware, those colder temperatures in the plains, some 20s as well. It shows warmer in the south tomorrow as well, Thursday. A little bit colder still in the high elevations of the west, especially Montana and California in some areas. Shows again on Friday morning some 20s in the northeast, and New England some 20s and teens in the mountains of the west, especially Wyoming and California there. Might be less than like some 14, 11 Fahrenheit in the highest peaks of California, and some teens in Wyoming as well, southern Colorado, and some areas there. So be aware. And then shows the Friday during the day, some 70s in parts of the south, and 80s in southernmost Florida, but still very cold across the northwest, the mountains during the day. Now for next Saturday morning, so that was Friday during the day, so now Saturday shows more towards the northeast parts of the Great Lakes, but in the west shows some areas of very cold temperatures, negative temperatures. Most of the west, mainly the mountains, and the north, in the north there and everything, but in the mountains of like the southwest, this forecast is showing like some 14.6 Fahrenheit, might be even close to negative, with like -1 Fahrenheit. In the highest peaks of California, there are those very dark purples, might be very, very cold there. So be aware by like this weekend. It shows day 4 maximum for Saturday, still very cold across the west. Some 80s in the south there, and some 50s and 40s the north. And day Sunday morning, day 5, day 4 still shows way colder across like Nevada, Utah, some teens and single digits Fahrenheit. So like across Colorado, Wyoming, some low teens throughout Montana and Idaho, and California still those low temperatures, especially in the mountains. So be aware. The northeast some is still. So yeah, this is Sunday morning, and then the 48-hour snowfall shows more snow across the west, close to even 30 inches or something northern Idaho, few spots in Washington and northern California, all the way down to southern California, some flakes of snow, and shows more there across Nevada, some snow, especially in Idaho and Montana, some more snow there. So be aware. The 24-hour ice still that doesn't show anything, but definitely by the end of this week we'll have something in the northeast there. Shows maybe a thing or two in West Virginia for ice, but not really showing anything. And show like this is until Thursday. Tomorrow the max wind gusts, they do have some 50 to 60 mile per gust, even 70 in a spot or two of the mountains of Montana. Be careful there in the eastern California, in the mountains, close to 70 mile per hour gusts, and 60, 50 in the northern California and Oregon, some high gusts too. Shows high gusts in the Appalachians, some spots go close to 55 or even 60 mile per hour gusts. Those yellows are more than 60 already, so be aware. Shows more Wyoming, the plains, a little bit gustier in some areas, so be aware there. Shows here the snowfall from the European until next Monday, the 18th. The European model is more snow. New Mexico, some Colorado, a little bit where it has very big amounts, like not big amounts, but like more snow across Washington, Oregon, Northern California, the Sierra Nevada, some mountain spots, Southern California, more across Idaho, Montana. Has a lot of snow throughout British Columbia, some more than 100 centimeters, southern Alaska, more snow there. Basically, most of the west there on the Pacific, southeastern Alaska, more snow too. Shows some snow throughout like Saskatchewan, northern Manitoba into northwestern Ontario, a little bit of snow, but more northern Quebec into Labrador, more central northern Labrador, western Labrador. Shows more there. Most of British Columbia will get snow, if not all of the state, and shows more northern Alberta, some there in the mountains too. Northwestern Territory, some snow, and parts of Nunavut, especially in the north there. So yeah, be aware, some in Newfoundland there, Nova Scotia, a tiny bit of snow, even a tiny hint in West Virginia, So yeah, be aware. And the rain accumulation does show. I showed you there before, so it does show a lot parts like British Columbia, more than 100 millimeters too. Some spots right on the coast there, so be aware of heavy rain and snow. It shows a lot on the Atlantic there. Newfoundland shows more than 192 millimeters by the European, so be careful. There are some Atlantic systems, more to Labrador, Quebec, and Nova Scotia, some more rain. The GFS has also a big area of rain to Newfoundland there, close to 130 to 151 millimeters. The icon has like more scattered, some heavy rain, more than 100 millimeters, eastern Quebec, Newfoundland, into Labrador, and some areas. So be aware of that heavy rain there, just so you get an idea on everything. There's like this precipitation type. You can see the systems across the west, and already some snow in Newfoundland and some rain there. It shows some spots of freezing rain possible Thursday, tomorrow, northern Quebec as well. Shows the systems continue across the west. Does show that freezing rain Labrador and New Brunswick possible on Friday, the 15th. This goes maybe a freezing rain or two in Maine and southeastern Quebec on Saturday, but showing a lot of freezing rain potential northern central Quebec and Labrador there. The GFS is also showing, but a little bit less, and the icon doesn't have that. So this is Saturday, the 16th, shows more snow and freezing rain in Labrador and Quebec, and more rain continuing Newfoundland there and some areas, and still shows a freezing rain or two by like next Wednesday, the 20th. So be aware of the freezing rain there later this week, and the systems across the west with some snow, more rain there. Even if you're in the high mountains, there's always the possibility of a spot or two of freezing rain. And the system like southern Alaska there, southeastern Alaska, more snow and rain. Thursday, tomorrow, Friday, some more snow there, spreading into like Yukon, northern British Columbia on Saturday, and more snow throughout the areas later. So be aware those areas, and also the very cold temperatures, northern northwestern territories minus 29 degrees, Yukon and Alaska is probably some negative Fahrenheit too. So be aware, showing those very cold temperatures like New Brunswick in Quebec, so minus 11, minus 10, minus 3, parts of Newfoundland too. Be aware of like cold and some frost too. It shows more there like Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, those cold temperatures. Some spots are spared in the south, but generally shows very cold there. This will fluctuate throughout the days. Some days shows colder in southern Ontario, like next Sunday, more very cold across the west. So yeah, be aware of those temperatures, especially in the very north there. So yeah, and this mainly it. Let's see if there are any updates here.